On August 27, 1883, a small volcanic island tore itself completely apart, and the deafening sound was heard 4,000 kilometers away. Before that terrible morning, Krakatoa was just another quiet peak rising from the Sunda Strait, watched calmly by local fishermen and sailors. Few of them ever knew the mountain beneath their feet had been sleeping for 2 centuries, silently waiting for a moment exactly like this one. What happened next would not simply destroy an island. It would silence the entire world and rewrite the very skies for years to come after. Krakatoa sat quietly between Java and Sumatra, a green volcanic cone surrounded by turquoise water and dense, humid tropical island jungle. Local villagers built their entire lives around its gentle slopes, farming rice, fishing the strait, and trading goods along the busy coast. Ships passed through these narrow waters daily, sailors treating the distant mountain as scenery rather than a slumbering ancient threat. For generations, Krakatoa had stayed completely silent, its violent past buried under soil, vines, and the quiet rhythm of island routine. In May of 1883, the mountain finally stirred, sending a towering column of ash and steam thousands of meters into the humid tropical sky above. Villagers felt sudden tremors rattle their homes, and fine grey ash began settling like snow across nearby rooftops and quiet island fields. Captains steering their ships past the strait reported loud explosions, though few truly imagined what was quietly building beneath the surface. For nearly 3 long months, Krakatoa rumbled on and off, a warning most islanders simply chose to explain away, rather than truly fear it. Along the sunlit coastlines, small fishing villages carried on as always, children playing near the shore each warm and humid quiet afternoon. Markets buzzed loudly with spices, cloth and fresh catch, everyone completely unaware that the ground beneath them was steadily weakening. Dutch colonial officials noted the tremors in their reports, yet ordinary colonial daily life across the region continued on largely unchanged. Some village elders whispered old stories of a mountain that once exploded with a fury no living person there had ever truly witnessed firsthand. Nobody in those quiet villages could have imagined those old legends were about to truly become terrifyingly, catastrophically real once again. On August 26th, the volcano's entire mood suddenly changed, unleashing violent explosions so loud they rattled windows on distant, faraway shores. A dense, black cloud of ash rose over 20 kilometers into the sky, completely blotting out the afternoon sun across the entire strait itself. Ash rained steadily down on ships and villages alike, coating decks and rooftops in a thick, suffocating layer of grey volcanic powder dust. Ship captains at sea described the sky turning pitch black at midday, with sharp lightning crackling violently through the falling ash clouds. By nightfall, the explosions arrived in relentless waves, each one noticeably stronger than anything the island had ever recorded before it. Then at just after 10 in the morning on August 27th, Krakatoa finally detonated with a force far beyond ordinary human comprehension itself. The final blast is still considered one of the loudest sounds in all of recorded human history, heard clearly for thousands of miles around. On the distant island of Rodriguez, nearly 5,000 kilometers away, people reported hearing what sounded like faint, distant cannon fire. The explosion released energy roughly equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs, violently tearing 2/3 of the entire island into the sea. Pressure waves unleashed by the blast circled the entire planet multiple times over, registered on sensitive barometers as far away as London. In a single terrible instant, the mountain that had quietly stood for generations simply ceased to exist above the churning ocean waterline. Sailors near the strait described their eardrums bursting from the sheer pressure, some permanently losing their hearing that very same day. The thunderous sound traveled so far that people in Australia and even distant parts of Asia reported hearing a faint, distant rumbling boom. Scientists later calculated the blast was clearly audible across roughly 1/13 of the entire surface of planet Earth itself. Remarkably, for several days afterward, the powerful shockwave continued rippling through the atmosphere, detected by instruments all across the world. It remains, even to this day, the loudest sound ever officially recorded in modern human history, anywhere across the entire planet Earth itself. But the deafening sound was only the beginning, because true horror arrived moments later in the terrifying form of towering, unstoppable waves. The collapsing volcano violently displaced enormous volumes of seawater, generating monstrous tsunamis reaching over 30 meters in height. These massive walls of water raced swiftly toward the coastlines of Java and Sumatra, swallowing entire villages within just a matter of minutes. Entire communities that had lived peacefully along the shore for generations were completely erased before residents could even begin to react. More than 30,000 people tragically lost their lives that single day, most of them claimed by the merciless tsunami waves themselves. Ships anchored quietly offshore were lifted and hurled far inland. Some later found stranded several kilometers away from the original coastline. In the explosion's grim aftermath, a thick veil of ash and sulfur dioxide spread rapidly through the upper atmosphere across the entire world. Sunsets turned vivid shades of blood red and burning orange for months, with painters and poets capturing the eerie, glowing evening skies. Global temperatures dropped noticeably the following year, as ordinary sunlight struggled to pierce the thick, lingering volcanic ash haze. Some historians believe those strange-colored skies even inspired the blood-red horizon, seen in Edvard Munch's famous painting, The Scream. Crop failures and unusual weather patterns were reported across entire continents, thousands of miles away from Krakatoa itself that year. Where the great mountain once proudly stood, only a submerged caldera remained, quiet and hollow beneath the endlessly restless open sea below. Decades later, a brand new volcanic cone began rising from that very same crater, locals naming it Anak Krakatoa, meaning child of Krakatoa. Today, scientists still quietly monitor it closely, fully aware that the same restless forces which shaped 1883 continue to churn on far below. Krakatoa's remarkable story remains one of nature's clearest reminders of just how quickly our familiar world can be completely undone today. And yet, from such unimaginable devastation, life slowly returned, villages were rebuilt, and the strait eventually grew quiet once again. The mountain that once silenced the entire world now stands truly forever as a lasting symbol of nature's raw and deeply humbling power itself. If this story pulled you in, subscribe now for more cinematic journeys through history's most extraordinary and unforgettable moments ahead. Let us know in the comments below which lost city or historic disaster you would like us to reconstruct in our very next documentary film.